Hello everyone, author Tillery here, the Mistress of Horror. Welcome back to my channel. Before we get started, you press that subscribe button and ring that bell so you know when I'm uploading new videos. This is a new format for my book reviews. I decided to give this a try so that way you have visual aspects to go along with me doing my type of reviews where I kind of get into details. Unless it's a non-fiction book, then I'll probably use my old format where you just see little me on the video. Now let's jump into the review for The 12 Brothers by the Brothers Grimm. And this is for the Gothic Hearts Reading Challenge that I do every year, along with the host Regina St. Clair and co-host with E.D. Lewis, Aphrodite Lee, and Elizabeth Sagewood. So this is one of the prompts, and I'm not doing them in any particular order because I'm doing videos individually, or at least videos compiled for each prompt, and we have 8 prompts. If you want to find out what the prompts are for the Gothic Hearts Reading Challenge, please check the description box below for those prompts. If you are interested in still doing the Gothic Hearts Reading Challenge, join the month of February along with us. Now, this particular book review is for the Hymns of Shadows prompt, which is to read a Gothic story, short story, or poem based around the theme of religion. This particular short story that I'm going to be doing a review for is for that prompt and has religious undertones in the story. So let me jump into this review. So what can I say about The 12 Brothers by the Brothers Grimm? It is a 5-page story. I mean, what can I say? It's definitely short, and I'm not sure what to think. I mean, it is a short story, but even with being a short story, there should still be a beginning, middle, and an end that flow together cohesively. I'm not saying it doesn't have a beginning, middle, and end, because it does. That's the structure of a basic story. But the transitions to the next part of the story isn't altogether cohesive. That said, it is an interesting story, to say the least, and it is written in an older speaking style, as expected of a Brothers Grimm tale. The story starts with a king and queen who have 12 sons. The queen is pregnant with their 13th child, and for some reason the king decides that if she has a girl, the 12 brothers must die. Yeah, you heard me. Supposedly, this is so the girl can inherit everything in abundance. So, from what I gather, he's willing to sacrifice his 12 sons. He even has 12 caskets made, complete with shavings inside, just waiting. If it's a girl, they're done for. I was like, wow, Father of the Year here. But he's a king, so I mean, what can we say or what can we expect? Probably exactly what's happening. Anyway, the mother, of course, is devastated. She tells one of her sons while crying because he wants to know what's wrong, that their father plans to have them killed if the baby is a girl and that they should run away. Before she even tells them to leave, the son insists they can take care of themselves and that she shouldn't worry. Fast forward a little, and they do end up running into the woods. The queen tells them to climb the tallest tree and watch for a signal from the tower. She will raise a white flag if it's a boy and a red flag if it's a girl. If they see a white flag, they can return home. If they see red, they must run and never return. Unfortunately for them, about 11 days later, the flag they see is red, meaning the queen had a girl, a princess. The 12 brothers are furious and vow that any maiden they come across will be slain. So yeah, they're pretty upset, if you couldn't tell. They disappear deep into the woods, find an empty hut, and live there for 10 years. Things happen in between, but I'm not going to read everything because obviously it's a short story and I don't want to completely ruin it for you. But this is a spoiler review. A little hard to avoid that with the short story. Anyway, I see that the daughter is now older and grown up, and I'm air quoting that if you could see me. My eyes widen at the wording because she's only 10 years old. So there's that. Meanwhile, the brothers, being much older than her, have also grown up. Their exact ages aren't given, but since none of them were babies when they left, they're all at least teenagers or older by now. Granted, I understand that this story is from the distant past, and when you would hit, or I guess around 11 or 12, you were almost considered an adult in those times. Doesn't change my perspective of her being 10 and considered all grown up. I just can't see past that. They live in the hut, hunting for food, while the youngest, Benjamin, stays behind to cook and clean. And that's pretty much their routine for 10 years. Now, since this story is for the Gothic Hearts Reading Challenge under the Hymns of Shadows prompt, I should mention the religious aspects. There are some religious undertones in the story. The Bible is mentioned early on, and the characters seem to have some level of religious belief. Other than that, the old-fashioned way they speak gives the story a more antique-based feel, and also fitting for religious speak. Anyway, back to the plot. The princess, now 10 years old, discovers 12 shirts in the old clothing chest and asks her mother about them. Her mother reveals that she has 12 brothers. The girl is shocked. What? I have 12 brothers I've never met? And this prompts her to go looking for them. She journeys deep into the woods and stumbles upon the hut where Benjamin is staying while the other 11 brothers are out hunting. He immediately realizes who she is and embraces her. She's thrilled to meet her other brothers, but Benjamin warns her that they vowed to kill any maiden they saw because of their exile. To protect her, Benjamin hides her in a tub under a tub before his brothers return. When they come back, he makes them promise not to harm the first maiden they see. They agree, and only then does he reveal their sister. The reunion is surprisingly joyful. Lots of hugs and kisses, despite the fact that just moments earlier they had sworn to kill any girl they met. Apparently, they've never ventured beyond the woods, so no maidens were actually harmed. Well, almost. Wait for that. The princess decides to stay with her brothers, helping Benjamin take care of the hut while the others hunt. One day, she discovers a garden outside the hut filled with 12 white flowers. I don't know if you can feel where this is going, but I gotta say, I still was a little shocked. Wanting to give each of her brothers a flower, she picks them. But the moment she does, her brothers transform into ravens and fly away. Yeah, I gotta say, I didn't see that coming. They are now cursed to remain as birds forever. And then out of nowhere, an old woman appears. I mean, where did she come from? She tells the princess that if she wants to break the curse, she must remain completely silent for 7 years. No speaking, no smiling, nothing. Determined to save her brothers, the princess climbs into a tree. This seems to be a staple of this. They maybe should have called it Climbing Trees of the Children. I don't know. Something like that. And she stays there in silence in the tree. Then a king, so happily, a king with his hunting dog passes by one day. His greyhound spots her and barks up at the tree. The king looks up, and upon seeing her long golden hair and mysterious star on her forehead, yes, she randomly has a star on her forehead, I assume some type of birthmark, immediately falls in love. But of course he does. He calls out to her, but since she can't speak, she remains silent. Unbothered by this, the king climbs the tree, takes her down, and brings her to his kingdom. Then he marries her, because of course he does. She has no say in this because, again, she can't speak. Not that she would have had a choice anyway, because she's a child, but I'm still stuck on the fact that he took her without any thought of, finding out why she was there, really, or maybe finding out where she lived. But nope. 10-year-old girl in the tree. Definitely going to marry her. Sounds legit. Anyway, years pass, and the king's mother, or possibly his stepmother, I think it was the king's mother, and they referred to her as stepmother later in relation to his now new wife. This part was unclear for a little bit, but it kind of got cleared up later. Nonetheless, his mother is highly suspicious of the princess, It's not even just that she can't talk. She also never smiles. The mother-in-law is convinced she's up to something sinister. Yeah. Not that your son is sinister for going after a child and marrying her, but okay. She nags and nags until eventually she convinces the king that his wife must be wicked. And what does he decide to do? Burn her at the stake. Right as the flames begin licking at her dress, the 7-year mark passes, and her brothers, now human again, swoop in from the sky, putting out the fire and saving her. She finally speaks, explaining that she was cursed and unable to talk all these years. I mean, they were married for 7 years, so okay. The king is overjoyed because he still loves her, even though he was about to burn her alive. Divorce anyone? Can anyone say divorce? I could. Now, about his mother, or stepmother of the now queen, who's the princess. She, since she was the one who convinced him to execute his wife, she is sentenced to death for her lies and treachery. Yeah, okay. The king isn't, though. And here's where it gets a little extra. They don't just execute her. Oh no. They put her in a barrel filled with boiling oil and venomous snakes. And the story literally says she died an evil death. Like, that was a bit excessive. Was the boiling oil not enough? Did they really need to add venomous snakes? And logically speaking, wouldn't the snakes have also died in the boiling oil? So what exactly did they do besides make the oil extra poisonous? Either way, it sounds absolutely horrific. I wouldn't want to go that way myself. Though it is an interesting way to choose to write for a character to die. I can't say much since I write horror and people die horribly in my stuff all the time, but I gotta say, I hadn't thought of that one. In the end, everyone else lives happily ever after. That's funny. This is probably one of the happier Brother Grimm's stories, believe it or not, for an ending. Overall, I did enjoy reading it. It was interesting, especially with the old-fashioned language. Words like said she and they, thou are always fun to come across. But still have so many unanswered questions. Who was the old woman who knew about the curse? Who put the curse on them in the first place? Did the hut belong to someone or the old woman? Uh, is it cursed? Did they get cursed because they were squatting in someone's hut? I guess we'll never know. I mean, I give this story 3 stars, and that's pretty much what I gave it when I rated it on Goodreads. I didn't rate it on Amazon because I did not um, purchase my Brother's Grimm book from there. And I'm not sure if you can actually rate the story individual on there. I would have to check that out. I may. Anyway, it was an interesting enough read, but the transitions could have been smoother. And by the end of the story, I should have known who the older woman was for the hut, something like that. But nonetheless, here we are, and I did enjoy it. Anyway, thanks for listening to my book review for The 12 Brothers by the Brothers Grimm. And I hope you check it out. If you have read The 12 Brothers by the Brothers Grimm, please let me know in the comments, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on the story. Until next time, stay scared.